Okay. We will call to order the regular board meeting for the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chairman. Seated to my left is Commissioner Jonathan Swain, and to my right is Commissioner William Cressy. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Any changes or edits? If none, then we will proceed with the approval of the special board meeting minutes for October 4th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just to let the board members know that yesterday we opened up our annex, 15 West Washington, and I think it went really well. So I'm very pleased. I know that we've done several reports over there, and it's been well received. We did over 800 people, but I'll have Dawn explain to you about the turnout in that area. But since early vote's been open, we've already done over 600,000 people have voted already. So I think that's pretty good. Dawn, you want to talk about it?
Good morning.
Good morning, Dawn.
As Lance said, we've processed 6,041 people so far, voters in the city of Chicago, since early voting opened on September 29th. Here in the office, we processed 5,209 voters, and that was averaging about 500 to 700 people per day. You're doing a great job. And then yesterday, we opened our new annex, our super site, over at 15 West Washington, and Mark August and Chris Turner are doing a great job with the setup over there. It looks great. And we processed 832 voters there yesterday. I think with the holiday, there were maybe more people off. I was hoping to get more with the parade and everything, but hopefully with more people coming to work now today, without it being a holiday, we'll get more people. We also took 44 registrations over there. 26 were new and 18 were changes. That came from Charles Holiday this morning. We are gearing up for the 50 board sites that are going to open citywide on October 24th, and that'll be through November 7th. We also will have 3 university sites that will open November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So we're gearing up for the next step of early voting. With vote by mail, we have for the military, we've processed 5,873 applications so far. Military stateside was 512, military overseas 158, our civilian overseas that are permanent overseas 2,220, and civilian overseas 2,983. And staff's doing a great job keeping up with all the emails and getting the ballots out. We've had 620 ballots returned from the UOCAVA voters. Vote by mail is also keeping up with the stuff that's coming in, the applications coming in on a daily basis. We've processed 27,302 vote by mail applications. Out of those, 22,595 were civilian. We have the permanently disabled program, that was 485, and then our nursing home voting program, we've processed so far 4,222 applications. We do have 88 nursing homes that are going to participate in our program. We're still setting up voting days with them. The web imports, we're averaging at least 500 voters a day on the web imports, so that's been really well. We started mailing out the ballots on October 4th, and we've already received 6 civilian ballots back, but they were dropped off in the office. We haven't gotten them by mail yet. So, and with military, I'm not sure if I said, we have 620 ballots returned. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Audra, would you please?
Good morning.
Good morning, Audra.
Mr. Goff wanted me to report on our election judge numbers. They're looking really good for the election. The clerks, the outreach staff, and NICFA have been doing a fantastic job recruiting. So our total assigned election judges right now is 11,409. So the breakdown of that is just over 6,200 Democrats, just about 5,200 Republicans. As you know, those numbers change by the minute. So that was yesterday, so we're probably looking at both higher numbers for today. The total applications that the parties submitted and approved themselves was just over 1,800. We have over-the-counter applications as well, and that was about 6,600. We have a number of bilingual translators for each of the Section 203 precincts, and right now we're looking at about 750. High school students, we have just over 1,900, which is a really good number. The classes look really good, they're full. Once we recruit them, we've noticed that it's kind of hard to get them to class, but I think the online application and our emailing system is really working for high school students. And then the college students, we have about 275. For the election coordinators, we have about 1,400 that have been trained and assigned, so we're well on our way to having one in each precinct, plus about 100 extra that we can send out in case someone doesn't show up. Then we dispatch those on election day. We'll have about 200 extra election judges also that we can dispatch on election day. Do you have any questions?
When you say over-the-counter, that includes the people who've applied online?
That is correct.
Is it mostly people applying online, or?
For over-the-counter, I don't know the breakdown in terms of, how many paper versus online, but I do know that the online application system, we have over 50% of the election judges using it. It's really popular. The clerks really like it. Election judges seem to like it. I think because once they express interest, it's really easy to turn around an application. So they can express interest, say, I want to do this, apply right then and there, and then get assigned within a few hours. So,
Excellent.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Audra.
Thank you.
Just to let my board members know that 15 West Washington was more than just a notion. We learned a lot of things by opening up this, what we call our annex or super site. When we start talking about vote centers, we could use all this information that we learned to start working on that. And I'd like to, after this election, I think we need to look at vote centers. So I was hoping that could be part of our legislative program for next year.
Absolutely.
And can I just say, having been over there and seeing the setup and seeing what's been done, I'd like to commend our executive director and our staff. They've done a phenomenal job in turning that space around and making it, the efficient, wonderful super site, as we've been calling it, that it is. I've seen this morning on social media people who've been there remarking about how wonderful it was to go in and register and vote and be out so quickly and be handled so nicely. So I want to commend you, Lance, for a wonderful job on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. While we're here, I'd like to also thank Laurel. If it wasn't for Laurel, I'd go to Laurel and say, Laurel, we need skirts. Laurel, we need this. Fire extinguishers. Stuff that you never thought you would need. She was able to turn it around and get it open on time. So, Laurel, I thank you for that.
Thank you, Laurel.
After this experience, Lance, you can move on to a career in being a landlord.
Yeah. No, I'm going to rent from now on. I'd like to also thank Peter. Peter's helped us recruit these employees and get together what we need for out at the super site. And we're also working on our early voting sites to get enough bodies. So Peter and his staff has done an excellent job. Peter is being moved over to finance because I need help there. So he will be working more on finance than personnel. Lucretia, Dan will be overseeing that spot. So I just wanted the board members to be aware of that. Peter's also has made his transfers of funds so we can pay the early voting folks. So everything seems to be falling in place. Gary, we're off the press of the ballots.
Everything is printed, delivered, mailings are going, specimens are in, being distributed. It's in good shape.
I think we're in real good shape there. So basically that's all I have for my board members now. I know Mr. Allen will be able to add to this.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I have
Mr. Goff.
one question. We brought up a couple meetings ago, now that the super site has been moved our election site here has been moved 15 West.
Yes.
Possibility of looking at using one of the rooms downstairs for Election Central. Have we been able to make any progress with that?
No, I can't, it's not enough time to get the phone
lines
lines and
run.
everything down in the lower level.
Okay.
We are gonna move this room around and reconfigure it, hopefully get some additional phone lines. I'm hoping that we rely a lot, and Mr. Allen's gonna be sending out in the newspaper. We get a lot of phone calls, am I registered to vote up here? We're hoping if we flood the press about doing it online, doing it off of your smartphone, will relieve some of the pressure in here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is always gonna be, it's always gonna be crowded in here,
Yeah.
just to let you know.
Mhm.
So we did try to do that, but what we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna have so many vote by mail. Dawn's gonna set up the 400 Cs so she can count the absentee ballots downstairs in that lower level. So that's what we're gonna use that area for.
Okay.
We use one room across from the secretary's office, and Dawn, you can chime in, to sort the ballots, and then we're gonna actually count them in that room down there with the 400 Cs.
Okay.
Can I chime in?
Yes, chime in.
When we run the 400 Cs prior to Election Day, no reports will be printed, no results will be available until after 7 p.m. on Election Day. But we will start running the 400 Cs prior to Election Day now, because I believe that's the only way we're going to be able to stay on top of as many vote by mails as we anticipate. So that will be done where early voting used to take place in the lower level. That is the room that's going to contain. Now we have 5 400 Cs, and we'll be running those prior to Election Day.
And those, everything is then secured and locked up in those big cages that we
Yes,
have down there?
yes. We have cages and we have cases with seals. And then after they're run, there's additional cases that they're sealed in. The judges sign off on the seal, and then they will be transported to our warehouse and our secure storage at the warehouse, just to stay on top of, all the ballots that we anticipate. Because we won't have storage here to hold them.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Allen?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I think Mr. Goff covered all the recent events, and all that's pretty much good news, as well as Ms. Downs and Ms. Lewicki. So the only items looking ahead are the mass mailing, which is still on target to go out on October 20th, right before the start of the ward level of early voting. We're also going to be doing some outreach to the universities, trying to encourage the university administrators and especially the communications directors to try to get out the word to the student population that they should associate registration with early voting, to try to get that done before Election Day. That and other preparations, as Mr. Goff said, regarding trying to help people who will wait till the last minute. Those are the big items right now.
And we key in the universities to the ward early voting site nearest the campus?
Ward early voting sites or downtown.
Right.
So we're going to try to promote, put together the words early voting and registration as often as possible.
And I also would like to say, in response to Audra's remarks about the judges of election, thanking you for getting the letter out to Republican voters, because it seems to have had an effect on getting Republican judges signing up. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope so. I defer to Audra whether it had an impact.
I think so. So when you look at the application numbers online, since the letter really did encourage them to go online, before the mailing, we had definitely more Democratic applications. After the mailing, we still did, but the increase in the number of Republican applications was a greater increase. So I really do think it did have an effect. So
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Is there anything more?
That's all.
Okay, and
Oh, and we are planning an event. We're working right now tentatively on an event at Chicago State University with Black Leadership Council, and so hopefully that'll pan out, and we'll see actually more use of early voting during the 3 days that we're at UIC, Northeastern Illinois, and Chicago State.
but I want to thank you personally also for all your efforts in promoting, well, just everything with respect to this election, but promoting this super site, our annex. So you did a great job. And, you know, I can't say enough about the wristbands. I think they are going to be the biggest hit this election season in Chicago. Now we'll proceed with old business. I think we have discussed infrastructure projects and changes in election administration as much as we can. And electronic poll books, is there anything new to be updated?
Everything's, well, Audra, you're overseeing everything seems to be on track.
Okay, great. Voting equipment, I don't think there's anything new right now. And I do not believe we have any legislation.
That is correct, Madam Chairwoman.
Then on to new business, and the first item is the Equip for Equality proposal, which we have, I think we discussed this at least the partnership with
Right.
Equip for Equality.
Yes, Madam
And
Chair.
Mr. Goff, would you like to say a few words about this?
This proposal was done because we did have a meeting with the Justice Department about polling places and early voting sites that weren't accessible, that we're working with the park districts, libraries, all of our partners. And it's something that I know the president or the CEO of Equip for Equality came and spoke to the board members, and it's something that I really would like to put together. They've been working several months. They've been doing judges training, train the trainer. They've been meeting with the Justice Department, and I would really encourage my board members to give me permission to sign off on this proposal.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding? And I do think I reviewed the proposal. I know the work that Equip for Equality has done throughout these months in assisting us and to provide more accessibility for our disabled voters. They have done a wonderful, wonderful job, and they will be continuing to do this through Election Day and then even beyond.
Beyond.
Okay.
I agree. I've looked at this proposal. It's incredible how detailed this is, and really they should be commended for preparing this wonderful proposal. So, yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
So is there a motion to approve an agreement with Equip for Equality for $200,000 for the work that they have been doing and to continue the work helping us with the ADA accessibility issues?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the temporary license agreement for 15 West Washington Street. And once again, I believe we discussed this earlier, in an earlier meeting, and we're simply approving the temporary license agreement with Walgreens for the use of the space at 15 West Washington Street. Is there a motion to approve the agreement for $50,000 for our annex for the period of time? I believe it's through November, is it not, Mr. Goff?
November 10th, 15th, November 15th, I'm sorry.
November 15th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, Mr. Scanlon, is there a legal report today?
Unless the commissioners have any questions, I have nothing
Okay.
else to report.
There is no financial report at this time. Okay. At this point, we'll proceed to public comment. Ms. Rubenstein?
Hello, good morning.
morning.
We were wondering, I'm from Coos County, Chicago again, and we were wondering what was decided about the BKD report.
It's going to be posted on the website within 24 hours.
Thank you so much. And once we see the report, we're asking for a meeting with commissioners.
Well, you can always ask whatever questions you'd like or submit them in writing and we could look at them. Obviously, it would be better if you submit them in writing and we can, the staff can have an opportunity to look at it and make sure we're responding to fully to your questions. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Next is Ms. Chamberlain?
Yeah, Dr. Chamberlain. So thank you very much for the BKD report. We really, really appreciate that. We will be looking on that. And the reason why we want a public meeting is we want to dialogue with you. We've observed the, 5% retabulation. We will be, reviewing what BKD recommends, and we want to talk you through the process. To my knowledge, none of you have actually been at a 5% retabulation. So, oh, have you?
Yeah.
Great, excellent, excellent. Haven't seen you there, so great, excellent. And we'll be there, so we would like a dialogue with you. That's why we're asking for a public
Well,
meeting.
that's why we have public comment. We're dialoguing all the time. So, as I said, the best thing would be if you would submit some questions in writing so we can look at them and be able to digest everything and provide you with an appropriate response.
Okay. May I ask you a question? Not the last meeting, the meeting before. The public comments were left off of the video. Is that going to be a persistent?
They weren't left off. What happened, I apologize. We had a memory issue, and if you remember, while the comments were going over, the person operating the camera called me over, and we couldn't make out what it was, but we had video still on the camera from prior meetings.
Okay.
And if you saw, by the time we came out of executive session, so it had a good chunk of the public comments, and that was a mistake on my part for not deleting those off of the camera so that it had enough memory.
So it won't be a persistent situation?
No.
Okay, thank you. We will review. We will continue to ask you for a dialogue, more than just the public comments, because we only have 5 minutes. We have a lot more to tell you than just 5 minutes.
Well, we
That's why we're
can
asking for it.
extend, public comment for,
Okay.
But, like I said, I would appreciate it if you would just write out the
Yes, we will.
questions, because it helps both of us,
We will. We
right?
will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a need for executive session today, Mr. Scanlon?
No, Madam Chairman.
Okay. If there is nothing further, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn until next Tuesday, October 18th at 9 a.m. Is there a motion?
So,
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Okay, motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.